So for today, myself speaking, my name is Maarten Wings. I'm marketing manager for the public address voice alarm portfolio in EMEA. And today I have my colleague with me, Luca Galli, who's application engineer for public address and voice alarm. And in the background, we also still have colleague Vitas, who actually is the designer of the tool that we want to present today. So what are the objectives for today? So first, we would like to present PRAESENSA to you, so you get a bit of an understanding what is this voice alarm system that we talk about, just an introduction to get the glance of it. And then we will show you what is actually this new tool, System Configuration Utility for PRAESENSA, and learn how this can help consultants and those who are involved with system planning to design and specify a system. So we launched it actually just 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago now, and we have more than 700 installations already worldwide. So the system is really accepted by the market. The fact that it's fully IP based, that it has no single point of failure, that we have encryption on the audio through the Omnio protocol. So yeah, it seems that it's suiting the application quite well. Of course, if you want to now design such a system and specify such a system, that's actually what the purpose of the tool would be. So as you know, you go through project evaluation, you go through planning, and then you come to a point where you like to understand, you know, what system components do I need to build a solution for my customer, and how do I specify this? And this is actually where the new tool that we have designed now comes into place. So I would like to hand over now to my colleague, Luca Galli, who will give you an understanding on what the tool is and how the tool works. Luca, can I give presentation rights to you?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Martin. Okay. Do you see my screen?
Yes, I do, Luca. Thank you.
Perfect. So we will go very quick through the main steps about project design in order to understand how to use in the best possible way the configuration tool for PRAESENSA. In general, as you all know, starting the system design for PAVA, we have to do a risk analysis, and when the risk analysis advises to install a PAVA system, of course, the first step is to check local standards in order to be able to design the system in the right way. Just as a quick wrap up, the standards bureau for on a worldwide base is the ISO, and in Europe we have the CHEN, and the standards we have to use are to design a PAVA system are the ISO 7240 on a worldwide base, and on European level there is also the technical specification, the CEN TS 5432. This is a technical specification, and it provides, as you know, a little more information than the ISO 7240. Starting from the prescription that we find in these standards, of course we have to get the right documents in order to start the system design. It's clear. So for an acoustic approach, a correct acoustic approach, we need the floor plans, usually in DWG, so CAD drawings. We also need sections in order to understand the volume we have to cover with speaker, and to identify also the system zones. We need an emergency management plan because we have to understand how people have to be moved in order to have the right way to evacuation. Then, last but not least, acoustic report, so simulation for each zone that is mandatory for reverberant areas. The acoustic report is not always available, but my suggestion is to ask for it or to, let me say, do it when we see some volume, some areas that could be really difficult to cover with speaker. I mean, where there is a lot of glass or marble or something like that. Starting from the floor plans, of course, in the floor plans, we have to indicate the speaker position. So this is an example. This is a sort of theater. So the first step is, of course, to identify the right place where to install the speakers. As you can see here, we have some speaker. Of course, each speaker has to be clearly identified in terms of zones and also in terms of line. And following the speaker positioning, we have to set up the loudspeaker line. So the complete set of loudspeakers line and zones we want to use. We needed to cover the building, and we can have a block diagram like this one, or better, we could also have a nice Excel file in which we indicate all the relevant information about the loudspeaker lines. In general, designing an audio system and setting up the loudspeaker lines means to identify, to understand the quotes, so the level, the ground where the zone is installed, the line name, and if the loudspeaker line is redundant. In this case, as you can see here, we have sales A and sales B. It is the same zone, but we have A and B because we want to install redundant lines to grant a higher security level on the system. Also the gallery and also this FEV area, there are all redundant lines. So once we designed the whole system, we can use this loudspeaker line setup to place the information, to insert the information in our tool for PRAESENSA configuration. And what do we need to be able to set up the right PRAESENSA system? We need the name of the zones, as you can see here. If we have to know if the zones are split in a redundant A-B line, and of course we need the power, the consumption power of each zone. So 3 elements only in order to be able to do the right system design with the PRAESENSA consultant tool. As you can see here, I took out the information we need. So here we have the zone names, the AB line, and the line power. Of course, since the system needs, the configuration tool needs to know what are the zones that have the same name and are redundant, we have to take out, for instance, in this case, the value A and B, because we need the same name for redundant lines. And it is important to take out the different names, so that we need to have the same name, and then we can save this Excel file as a CSV file. Having a CSV file with loudspeaker lines A and B and power is more than enough to set up our tender specification and our system definition with PRAESENSA. So these are the relevant data. When we save as a CSV file, of course, if we open with Notepad, we can have something like this. This is exactly what we need, what we have to upload in the consultant configuration tool. Now, of course, if you have a question, please write down in the Q&A. Starting from what I introduced, I would like to have a demo in real life. This is the tool. As you can see, it's quite easy to access. It's a web-based tool. Now I'm using Firefox to have the best performance. Internet Explorer is not advised, but Google, Firefox, Safari can be used. There is a disclaimer, and in the first page, you can select the language. I can select, for instance, France, and we have Russian. So we have several languages. Once I select the language I need, I can simply click on I understand and accept. And here I am in the tool. The tool itself is self-describing, so we have a brief description about the functionality of the tool. So what we need, the required input to set up the configuration of the system is the loudspeaker circuit nominal voltage. So we have to define if the system will work at 70 volts or 100 volts. We have to set up the power load limit per amplifier. Keep in mind that rules and standards usually ask to get some spare in terms of power. So if we want to use the 600 amplifiers from PRAESENSA, most probably we have to reserve 10%, 15% as extra power for, I don't know, expansion or for safety reasons. So it is an information we have to put in the tool. And then we need the loudspeaker circuit CSV file, the one I already showed to you, to be uploaded, and that's all. So with these three elements, we are able to create our tender specification, our system definition. And the question is, what are the outputs we can get from the tool? We will have the submitted loudspeaker circuit list. We will have optimized loudspeaker circuit list with circuit allocation to power amplifier outputs. This is really important because the tool itself decides, optimize the distribution of loudspeaker lines among the amplifiers. So we will have always the best split of lines through the available amplifiers. Then we will have optimized loudspeaker circuit summary, preliminary bill of materials, and also power calculation. So to set up the right battery we have to use. As a further information, there are some instructions about the CSV file definition. So if you do not remember how to set up the CSV file, here you have some nice information. But again, it's quite easy because if you create your own Excel file with loudspeaker line A and B and the power, you can export in CSV and the system will use it to create your bill of material. Well, once we are ready, we open data input form. And as you can see here, we have to check loudspeaker circuit nominal voltage. As I told you, 70 volts or 100 volts. The power load per amplifier. In this case, we can set here, I don't know, 54 watts. And automatically we have the percentage of reserve we have. Or we can do in the opposite way. So we can put 25%, for instance, of reserve, and automatically we have the max limit of the amplifier. In this case, I will take 15%. That sometimes is the average of reserve asked by the projects. And now I have to upload my circuit CSV file. When I upload, it opens. Now I choose my test CSV. I open it. And if the file is recognized in a correct way, I get this window. So the window is saying me, yeah, you have specified these following parameters: 100 volts, 510 watts as a total power per amplifiers, because you want to get 15% of spare. The loudspeaker circuit CSV file is this one, test.csv. Inside this file, the system count 12 circuit loudspeaker line, and there are no discarded records. What does it mean, discarded records? If the system find empty records or records without specified line IDs or without specified loads or with zero loads, automatically he discards these records. Why? Because sometimes there are some Excel files that are in a standard version with several lines that are not, several rows that are not filled. And in this case, automatically the system discards the not relevant rows. Well, if everything is okay, I can simply click on confirm, and the tool is automatically providing me the whole configuration of PRAESENSA. What does it mean? I have the date, and I can modify, of course, as you can see here. I have the project. I called PRAESENSA, but I can modify. I can call it Presenza test 1, for instance. Then here I have the submitted speaker line. And as you can see, I have sales line A, because this is a redundant line, sales line B, gallery lines I, A, and B, FEV lines I, A, and B, technical rooms, workshop, warehouse, restrooms, control room, and offices are intended as a single line. So we are not applying the redundant approach in these lines. As you can see, the system is able to manage all redundant lines or single lines or a mix of the lines. The total line count is 12 and the total load is 1108 watts. And automatically the system did the optimization. So he decided to put on the amplifier number 1, he decided to connect the channel 1, channel 1, the FEV A and B lines. As you can see here, FEV are redundant. And since the amplifier is one channel of the amplifier is able to manage redundant lines, the system, the tool decided to add the lines A and B to channel 1, channel 2 offices, channel 3 workshops, channel 4 control room, meeting room. So assign channel 4, assigned power 372 watts. On the amplifier number 2, the system put the gallery, A and B lines, and the warehouse, technical rooms, and restrooms with assigned channels 4 and assigned power 376 watts. And on the amplifier number 3, the system applied the sales lines, line A and line B. So this is the split of the lines. We have one cluster. One cluster means one multi-power supply, 3 amplifiers, and 1 controller large. The total assigned channel count, we have the total installed channel count, the channel utilization, total assigned power. So a lot of information we can put in our tender. Of course, we have the preliminary bill of materials, 1 controller large, 3 amplifiers, 4 channels, 1 multi-power supply, multifunction power supply, 12 end-of-line boards, 1 call station, 0 wall mount call station, 1 extension. Of course, we can modify. For instance, if we want to put 1 wall mount call station, we can do it. Okay. And if I click on the item, automatically I have my datasheet available. So I can check the datasheet. And going on, I also have the battery operation requirements, so timing, equation, condition. Also here I can modify. And the power calculation. Power calculation means for cluster 1, of the group with 1 multi-power supply, 3 amplifiers, and 1 controller, I need 146 ampere hour as a required capacity. We have the maximum current, the current at 230 volts or 115, the consumption in idle, low power, full power. So all the information are here. And this is my complete system. And now I can print, because the most important thing is to print out the list. And when I go and print, I can select the information I want to have in my output. So if I select all and I confirm, I will have this Excel file in which I have, of course, the complete loudspeaker lines. I have the PRAESENSA System Configuration Utility. Let me print. Okay, so this should be see if I have it. Well, okay. I'll come back here. That's better. Okay. I was saying that, okay, I have the complete loudspeaker lines. I have the system configuration per cluster, so all the lines split by cluster. This is relevant information, especially when you have to build up the rack, so you know every amplifier which kind of connection will have with the lines, and then you have also the battery power required, the bill of material, the time, the battery operation requirements, so the timing in terms of evacuation, quiescent condition, and safety factor, the total power consumption, and last but not least, you have also the tender specification. As you can see here, we have the text, the images, and the quantity. So this could be used as a tender specification. So as you can see, with a couple of clicks, we have a complete document generation with all the relevant information about our system. Of course, this is printed in PDF, but you can also export in Word. And that's all from my side. So if you have questions, you can write in the Q&A.
Okay, thank you, Luca. So I just opened the chat function and wrote to everybody if you have a question that you can post it in the chat. So I'm not sure if everybody can send questions. Maybe if somebody. Okay, there comes the first questions. Is the tender specification also in other languages? Yes, it is. So this is the English version that we have shown, but we actually have translated in as many language as we could. So yeah, it's in Italian, it's in French, it's in Spanish, in Dutch, Finnish, whatever language. And if you have a need for a language that we do not yet have, then please contact your local Bosch contact, because we can provide the specifications in any language if the local Bosch colleague is willing to translate them for you. So yeah, that is no problem at all. Okay, so then Luca, question to you. Is it always necessary to use DVG files?
Not really. I mean, I simply explained what is the process of to do a system design. Usually, the DWG files are used to place a speaker, you know, in the various zones, in various area, but it's not relevant, you know, for our tool, because the most important things is to have the Excel file with the loudspeaker lines, the A and B specification, and the total power. So it's not mandatory for us.
No, it starts with the Excel file, right, where you have the powers listed and you
exactly
create a CSV. That's what's important for as an input to the tool. Okay,
yes.
any chance to have automatic diagrams? That's currently not implemented in the tool. Vitas, can you say anything to that maybe?
Yes, we've got an idea about it, but first let's make this working, and I think in the few, I think the more improvements will come, I think.
Yeah, so this is a
Not
first
yet.
version. Yeah, we also think about an IP block diagram, something like this, but this is all planned for future versions. At the moment, it's the power calculation, generation of the BOQ, and generation of the specification text. Okay, for third-party devices, how could we proceed audio devices such as Dante devices? Okay. So I think we have some Dante devices that are recommended by Bosch Vitas, if I'm not mistaken. So
well,
if you
it can receive, but PRAESENSA system relevant question, not the PRAESENSA tool, not the configuration utility relevant. That yeah, the system can accept audio from external Dante devices, like background music sources or something like that.
Okay, here a comment. Great work, Vitas. Looks great. So I would agree. Does this tool generate simple schematic or of the proposed system? I think that already answered right at the moment. Not. Okay.
Yeah, the simple schematic would be an IP connection diagram. We keep that in mind, but that is a complicated task and also depends. I think we will limit, if we do that, we will limit it with the most simple approach. And if something is getting more complicated, then of course, then you'd have to approach specialists or locally in the market and eventually up to us in the MKA at third level. But
okay. Then how many controllers can be in the same network? So at the moment, the current version is supporting a duty controller, which is the primary controller, and standby controller, redundant controller, so that you always have a controller running when one of the controllers would go down. And there will be an extension on the system where we can have up to 8 controllers in one subnet, and we can have multiple subnets that are building a total system. Okay, then any chance of adding this tool to the fire safety system designer? At the moment, we are not thinking about this, but it's maybe something which we could consider for the future. Okay, in the software, will it include a sound decibel or of the room on the layout? Yeah, at the moment it is not including any sound information. It's just including a system design and the components that you need to deliver the amount of power in an EN54 compliant way to the speakers that you have specified in the Excel list and a CSV file as a starting point. Okay, I have seen.
I can comment on that as well. So actually, the design starts from the other way around. I mean, when you have a facility, first of all, you choose which speakers, which efficiently and how distributed you need to cover specific areas. And for that, you use the commonly available tools like Ease or the Ease Focus. There are several versions dedicated for that. Once you have that, but once you have your solution about how many loudspeakers of which time you have, then you can calculate the load per each speaker line, per each area, distribute them to physical speaker lines, and that information is what is needed for this tool. So before you use this tool, actually you should have it already.
Yeah. Yeah, that was shown on this slide with the consultant, right? It starts with the planning, and from the planning, exactly. you generate the rest, the input of the tool. Okay, I have seen that in the tool there are channel lines A, B. It seems that the power at the tool counts for each channel is calculated adding A and B lines. Is that correct?
Yes, I would say yes. As you can see, I'm now showing how it works, the tool. Since one channel is able to manage redundant lines, if we have redundant lines, the system add the lines to the same channel. As you can see here, so the channel the channel 1 in this case will provide 120 watts on line A and 120 watts on line B, so 240 watts.
Okay, A question: where can I find this tool? So we are actually now in the point of also launching a new consultant webpage from Bosch, where you can find all the information about our products that are relevant for design and specification. The link of that will be included with the thank you email that you will receive in a few days. After this webinar. So if you follow that link, then you will also find the download location for this tool. Then we are working on one project. It is required for 384 schedules playing tone. Is that possible? Luca, could you answer that?
It's a nice nice question. I mean, this is something related to the performance of PRAESENSA. So if I well understood, the need is to have the availability of 384 scheduled playing tone. But the question is, are different tones, or is always the same tone? This is something we have to understand how it should work.
Yeah, what is it? If it's the same tone, what's the scenario?
The scenario is that I don't know if we can do such a schedule playing tone, because I don't know the number of scheduling we can have in PRAESENSA. Vitas, do you have this information?
No, I mean, first of all, we have to know if it is repeated or
Exactly.
if it is every day different, or maybe, I don't know, maybe linked to some external schedule, like so it is too open question to answer it right away.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe we could get, or the gentleman who asks could get in touch with us, then we could go with the details afterwards.
Yeah, I will write my email address in this chat, so the gentleman can get in contact with us, and then we answer it more detailed. If there are any other questions, then same for the rest. Okay, let me try to.
So the different tones. So.
Yeah. Okay, where can I find this tool? Is it already available for download? I think that I answered, so it will be in the email link that we sent with the thank you email for the webinar.
Just to remove a misunderstanding, it's not downloadable. It is an online.
Yes, indeed.
It's an online tool. So you simply, actually, your browser puts all the content into the cache of your browser, and then all the calculations are done on your PC, and the result is generated in your PC, but is not downloadable or something. Yeah. So each time you access its URL, it is loading. It's online-based tool.
Yeah. Okay, I just got the answer. It's different tone, but maybe still contact us via email so we can, have some Q&A on on email and respond to that a bit more proper way. Okay, then last question: can the tool also have the option to use PRAESENSA PSM48 instead of using the PRAESENSA PS MPS3? I think the PSM48 is also included in the bill of quantity, correct, Vita?
Yes, as you can see, yes, I'm showing now in the tool that you can add manually. Keep in mind that the aim of the tool is to have the best optimization or the best split lines amplifiers, first of all, and this is how it works. And it consider the MPS3 as a basis for the power supply, but you can also add manually the power supply, the 24 volts or the 48 volts. Vitas?
Yeah, but you have to keep in mind that PSM48 in no way can substitute the MPS. It is a system, part of the system. You cannot run amplifiers without MPS.
Yeah, you can. It's in a safety environment. No, you cannot run the amplifiers because you have the lifeline from the MPS3, and it's mandatory to have it. If you would apply, or if you have an application that is not related to standards, so I mean EN54 mainly, you can use the amplifier with one single power supply, but it's not fulfilling the safety rules and standards.
Okay, then a question: how many call stations can be supported in a PRAESENSA system with a single controller? Can you answer that, Luca?
Sorry?
How many call stations on a single controller?
I think that you don't have a real limitation in that because it depends on the IP address. Keep in mind that it's an IP system, so you can split also through different networks or different subnets. It depends on the number. If you have 100 call stations and you also need a lot of electronics, most probably you need more subnets and you need some ARN interface in order to manage.
Yeah.
You should not forget about the power supply. It is power over Ethernet power supply, and then you have to have sufficient sources, either switches or the MPS has two outputs supporting one multi-purpose power supply can support up to two call stations directly.
Yeah. Okay, then here is a question from the Dutch market. So when will the isolators for the PRAESENSA system be included in the configurator? So yeah, this is something which we cannot answer now on the spot, I think. This is something which we need to look at. Vitas, I think you know this topic with the isolators?
Very vaguely.
Yeah. So we are now first launching it without the isolators, and then we need to see how we can, how and if we can implement it in the tool, and announce that then through the Dutch organization when this would come available. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Then. Okay. I think that's it. No more open questions. We're a few minutes over. So if there is nothing else, then I would like to thank you all for your attention. And if there is anything which comes to mind, don't hesitate to get in contact with your local Bosch representative. And yeah, we hope to see you in the future on PRAESENSA projects, which are being designed and specified, and we are hoping to help you on this. Okay, thank you very much, and I wish you a very good day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye. Bye-bye.